You gather the idea that Mauritius was made first and then heaven. Thus wrote the American author Mark Twain at the end of the 19th century. The beaches and the wonderful climate draw thousands to these shores every year. But like everywhere else in the world, this Indian Ocean paradise is not immune from social problems. Mauritius is a multicultural society with locals claiming descent from India, China, Africa, and elsewhere. In 2000, the Ministry of Social Security established a program to safeguard the interests of disadvantaged children, but funding was withdrawn 5 years later. Since then, Safire, a non-governmental organisation, has stepped in to pick up the slack.
We work with children who are aged 4 or so, right up to 21 or 22. We continue working with them beyond their 18th birthday. Our biggest challenge is with kids who are being neglected by their parents. They're on their own. They wander the streets all day long. Many of them don't go to school. They're outside any school system. Some are in conflict with the law, and some work, but are being exploited economically. We work with them for all sorts of reasons.
Ismahan Farhat and her colleagues work tirelessly across Mauritius, providing guidance to those children unfortunate enough to have to spend most of their time on the streets. While they usually have homes to go to at night, their days can be very empty. The education system is in English or French, something most of these Creole-speaking youngsters can find difficult.
Generally, these children are neglected by their parents, but a large number of them are on the streets because they've experienced failure at some point in their lives. It could be anything, but in most cases, it's academic failure. It happens because they can't adapt to the structure of education. They're unable to find their place in the school system, so they fail their exams at the end of primary school. It's difficult for them to integrate, and they end up on the streets.
From dawn to dusk, Safire educators meet the children wherever they may be. In order to bring a purpose to otherwise aimless lives, Safire has established various daytime programs for the children. Far from forcing them into activities they wouldn't understand or be willing to undertake, they ask the children to name their own interests. Art, music, and even farming classes were set up to attract youngsters from the streets, but perhaps unsurprisingly, one activity was top of everyone's wish list.
We started promoting football in this neighbourhood because many children had been using banned substances. They thought it was fun, and so they'd drink all weekend. I stepped in and talked to them. The first thing they told me was there was no football team for them to join, so we created a team and brought in some older children with whom I'd worked previously.
17-year-old Natish Poroon owes his new life to Shirley and other Safire educators who spotted him on the streets and brought him back to his community. A skilled footballer, his life has now moved in a better direction.
I'd been hanging around with some troubled kids. That's no longer the case, as there's been help on offer. I've been to organised meetings where they speak to the children, and everybody is there, and we're all on time. Safire is helping us enormously.
In the absence of government agencies, the tireless work of Safire has certainly changed the lives of these children for the better.
What's interesting is that when we started the programme, we had a lot of problems at first, especially with lack of discipline, fights on the pitch, all sorts of delays. Some kids showed up drunk to matches because they'd been partying the night before and they hadn't had time to sober up. Many children couldn't stop smoking cigarettes. But little by little, we've introduced discipline. We haven't encountered much negativity recently. There's been a radical change in their behaviour. They accept authority and they're disciplined. They've understood that team cohesion is a crucial ingredient if you want to succeed.